What's popping, y'all? Welcome back to Pop Health. And today we're going to be talking about a lot of news going on in the social media, public health space, including TikTok potentially being banned in the US, as well as the hub being banned in Texas. So just going to the first story, basically the House has passed the bill that could ban TikTok. Basically, if you didn't see the story on the news or anything, but pretty much the House passed a bill to essentially ban TikTok. It named TikTok outright for the reason behind rushing this bill through Congress, and basically has now sent it to the Senate to debate. And basically just looking at, the basics of the bill, it will require TikTok's, parent company ByteDance to sell it within 180 days or risk TikTok being banned in the US stores and web hosting services. This is concern from many lawmakers that pretty much, ByteDance's connection to the Chinese government, as well as the whole economic and social war that is going on between US and China right now, where the US is trying to come out on top. Basically it is citing certain concerns for national security, especially as, TikTok has, access to a lot of, TikTok, users' data. And so where the bill stands right now, basically the Senate is in deliberation. They're going to deliberate about the bill. There's no specific date when they're going to deliberate or vote on it. But basically, if Congress does pass the bill, President Biden has said his approval, he will sign it. And so the reason this has garnered a lot of debate is because, TikTok isn't just a platform where you just go on and do silly dances and stuff. Like, yeah, you can do that. You can do silly challenges, and just do a lot of other dumb stuff, you can find on the app. But a lot of people actually use TikTok to get their information. A lot of people use TikTok to like spread the word about their business, market themselves, influence. I've garnered a small following on TikTok, even though I don't use it as much. But I can't just sit here and say that, TikTok hasn't helped me kind of gain some of the like influence and kind of like, understanding like how social media works in the past few years, as well as the fact that, TikTok was a, saver for a lot of people during the pandemic when we couldn't go outside, when we couldn't connect with each other. TikTok was our main form of things of like how we bonded with each other and how information got out and how we stayed connected and somewhat, sane during that whole time. And even as me in my public health career, I've cited like, social media to be a current concern for mental health, mental wellness, as well as, I don't think kids should be like doing it for 24/7. I feel like there's too much screen time for a lot of kids, especially on TikTok. But I just can't sit here and just say like it's a total net, negative of like I think TikTok should be get rid of and banned and all this stuff like that too. Now, one thing that has caused a lot of concern for a lot of people is this phrasing right here. Basically, the sale must be to a buyer that is approved by the US government, as well as it must guarantee that ByteDance has no control over TikTok or its algorithms for the US users. Now, this is a very big thing because not only is it really just infringing upon, the free enterprise of the country where, it's just like anyone should be able to like have a business and have it run smoothly. Now, if you want to talk about the public health issues with mental health, anxiety, all that, all that other concerns. And another issue that was from that statement, but I'm going to go more in the weeds with this bill. Basically, the point of the bill is making it unlawful for any entity to distribute, maintain, or update a foreign adversary controlled app by carrying out within land or maritime borders of the US any of the following: basically providing services to distribute, maintain, update, app through which users within the land or maritime borders of the United States may access, maintain, or update such application. Basically, if you make a profile on TikTok, that is what it considers making an application. Providing internet hosting services to enable distribution, maintenance, or updating of such, foreign adversary control application for users within the land or borders of the United States. The reason I'm drawing concern on this because it is not clear of like what is a foreign adversary controlled app, because if you say foreign adversary, owned app, that's different. Like ByteDance honestly like will be fit in that bill. But when you bring up the situation what happened in Russia, with what Russia a few years ago in the election, with Facebook, that can make an argument that that was a control app. And if we're going to be honest with you, if you're going to try to crack down on TikTok and ByteDance because you don't know what the Chinese government is doing with the algorithm stuff, you also need to crack down on Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube. Don't ban me, YouTube, but you need to crack down on how these algorithms function and are used, because there has been so much more harm I've been receiving from just data miners from Facebook, whoever Google basically whatever subject I'm doing research on. I think last week I was doing a public health story on dogs or something for class, and literally I've been getting dog ads, shelter ads, all that, dog food ads for Amazon, whatever, literally for past 3 weeks. As well as the fact that there is an active data broker, campaign that, Google sells your information to data brokers, and that's how you get all these spam calls. Like, and within a span of this morning alone, I've gotten 2 spam calls I had to block, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get 5 more by the end of the day. And so it's just one of those things where it's just, data brokering as well as data national security, all that is already being compromised by US owned apps or US based apps. So at the end of the day, why are we making this distinction for, just ByteDance, being cracked down on when we really need to crack down on everything else, as well as the fact that, within the, confines of that bill I just told y'all, any foreign controlled app could just generally mean anything, like, how Facebook got hijacked, how Twitter got hijacked at one point. All you gotta do is cyber attack, and the app, can, fall under these guidelines and be at risk of being banned. So that's my whole issue with this thing. A lot of it is unclear. The language is unclear with the bill, and it is going to cause a slippery slope for a lot of apps to get banned, as well as the federal government to really step into, the thing with security, as well as like algorithms and like how, who should own which app, whatever, which in some aspect of the word I think is fair, because some of the stuff that goes on these apps is wild. But at the end of the day, the way we do it is that it matters, and it's just one of those things where it's just like the way to do it right now. This was just a rush bill to just try to get rid of TikTok, but it's going to have a lot more implications probably in the near future if it does get passed. So I'll definitely be up to date about the story. I think this is a big news story, and I think everybody need to be updated and see how this goes. And now going to the other human interest story of the week, and basically the Hub basically blocked access to Texas users this week. I don't personally use the Hub in my personal opinion, but a lot of people have very much this debates on like if what is a form of art. But pretty much Texans in search of the online adult content site found disappointment Thursday after the website suspending services in their state over objections to a new age verification law that the site claims stifles First Amendment rights. Now, going specifically into the law, I'll go into the material in a minute, but basically it is a bipartisan bill requiring companies that offer sexual material harmful to minors to verify its users that they are at least 18 years old. Now, companies that need to limit minors' access, such as websites such as liquor brands, commonly use age gating methods such as requiring a user to list their birthday. That is oftentimes not strict enough because, let's be honest, we all lied about our birthday at one point. But Texas laws require users to prove their age by either entering information from a government-issued ID or using a third-party system that uses public and private data such as employment, education, or mortgage information to verify age. But just going into the weeds of the bill, basically this means a commercial entity that knowingly intentionally publishes or distribute material on a internet website, include social media platform, more than 1/3 of which sexual material is harmful to minors, shall use reasonable age verification methods as described by section 129B03003 to verify that an individual attempting to access materials 18 years and older, and that they don't retain any identifying information of an individual after access has been granted to the material. Now, just look at the bill at that face value. You really wouldn't understand why the Hub is upset to begin with. But that bill basically puts the onus of trying to block, users' age verifications onto the company, which a lot of people, especially executive, right here, has said fails strict scrutiny by employing the least effective and yet also most restrictive means of accomplishing Texas' stated purpose of allegedly protecting minors. Now, Texas don't protect minors in many other instances. We ain't gonna get into all that. That's a whole nother, slippery slope. But pretty much, they make a good point that this is the least effective way to try to protect minors and stuff like that. Because the thing about it, there is so much easier way that you can restrict access. For example, in schools, basically schools employ this method of just making sure that, people don't use the school Wi-Fi to look up suggested material and all that. And so a few people have cited that example of like, hey, let's make a law instead of just doing this on the company. How about we make it a requirement that parents, if you have a minor in the house and if you're their legal guardian, then you are required to make sure that your Wi-Fi network is gate coded to the point where that type of material cannot be, shared freely. Now, obviously, kids are going to, use data, of course, to get on it, and all that. But that also cites another thing that people can do, like make it on the onus of the, you know, mobile providers, that if you have a kid under, you know, is a minor, basically you restrict their access to what they have, and basically, you know, you make it like a specific, you know, branding on that device saying that this belongs to a minor, and that, you know, you like they're not allowed to look at these material, and that's how you block the like sites through there. Like there's so other many different ways that you can do this without putting so much onus on like the companies and stuff, that that doesn't make sense why this bill got passed. And now another thing about this, you know, law is that it not only makes a barrier for not only just kids, but also it makes it a barrier for consenting adult. Now an adult now has to enter their private, you know, public, you know, information that could potentially get doxxed, that can potentially get leaked, that could potentially, you know, you don't know what hand is going to turn, as I just talked about data brokers a few minutes ago. But pretty much it, you know, presents a issue of like private security or private, you know, information security, you know, for consenting adults that, you know, this bill is not even targeting. And this is me not defending the whole, you know, corn ography industry, because corn, like I said, TikTok, it like has a lot of bad things that happens within that space, and you know, a lot of exploitation stuff that goes on. But at the end of the day, if you're really trying to do it, the stated purpose is trying to protect, you know, minors or kids or something, then you know there are more effective ways to do it. And at the end of the day, I do think protecting kids should be a federal responsibility. I do think, you know, this type of thing should happen. I think access should be blocked for, you know, kids, because kids shouldn't be seeing that, especially at a young age, and what you can do to like the minds, not necessarily just, you know, just kids, but also just young men. But at the end of the day, there are better ways to do this, and like this is like not the best way to do it, because now you put an onus on an individual company, when it's just like there should be a whole systematic at play. And you know, honestly, it should be on the onus of security providers, not security providers, internet providers. It should be the onus on parents. It should be the onus on, you know, people to like, you know, put it in their responsibility, make sure kids, you know, are protected and they feel safe. And you know, not just on individuals, companies who are trying to turn a profit. But with that being said, that has been some of the stuff that's been going on in pop culture and public health this week. If you like what you see today, like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, all that one for good stuff. Go see my last video on Jake Doherty. That was a banger. Definitely something that relates to this, and like how internet culture can influence the youth mind. But other than that, stay warm, stay frosty, stay dry. Peace out. All good vibes. I'll see y'all next time.